And then here, this part here is representing Ruwi. She's from Kumerangk, from Hindmarsh Island. She's the grumpy old woman. She's the scary old woman. And when all the people were gathering around at night and they tell all the stories, all the family, and as all the elders were telling the families the stories, she'd come and paint herself up with charcoal. As she paint herself with white ochre and charcoal, she stick all the leaves in her hair, and she grab her little moplongi, her yam stick, and she wait in the bushes, and she shake the bushes to let the people know. And as the people look around, who that is? Who that is there? And they're getting a little bit scared. And as they get a little bit scared, that's her time to pounce. She come running out, and she hit the fire. As she hit the fire, all the embers scatter around. Everybody's running around, scared, getting a little bit burnt and things like that. And then she, and she run back into the bush. As she run back into the bush, she waits. Then she waits for her next opportunity. Then So when we talk about some elders, like, they're just grumpy, or our perception of them is grumpy. And when they say that they're grumpy, they just like to be in their own company. They like to do things on their own. They like to, they just like doing it themselves, And so they left her alone. They left her alone, but she would come out all the time. As she come out, she'd scare them next night. Next night she'll come out and scare them. Then she'll wait a couple of nights, then she'll run out and scare them again. And then one day, as the time went on, they didn't hear her. And they didn't hear her coming out of the bush, or any of the bushes shaking, or any noises. As she'd be whispering in amongst the bush, they didn't hear no sound of her or nothing. And they were thinking, what's going on? No, where are we tonight? She's not coming out to scare us. And then the days went on, they started worrying. And they started worrying, even though she was being a prankster and a grumpy old lady, and she'd come out and scare them and put the fear into them. But they started getting worried. How come she's not coming out anymore? So they had sent the corneas, like the men, to go and look for her. And they went looking for her. They were walking all over Kumerangk, and they were walking all over the island. They tripped over. As they tripped over, they fell upon the spider. And they fell upon the spider. They thought, hey, that looked interesting. So they started eating a bit of her. And they didn't realize it was Wururi, who had died, and she turned into a spider. They started eating a little bit of it. And they started eating a little bit of it. They started talking a little bit funny. So Ramindjeri were the first people to rock up. They were the first people to stumble across her. And they started eating it. They started talking. Next minute, they seen all the Yaraldi mob come. So Yaraldi is sort of from northern part of Hindmarsh Island into, going up into what is now, a little bit of Mandu Island, going up into Rauk and like up into that area of the waterways. Walkie was sort of where Currency Creek is, going into Clayton, or not that far into Clayton, but just past Finnis Catchment is sort of where Walkie. And as Yaraldi come, they started eating a little bit of it. They started talking a little bit funny to the Ramindjeri people. And then the Walkie had come, they started eating a bit of it. They started talking a little bit funny to the Ramindjeri and the Yaraldi. Then the Thukeri is sort of where the playground is, a bit past the playground here, is sort of when Ramindjeri country, like Ramindjeri clan group, stops and Thukeri come in. And Thukeri goes into a bit of the south part of Hindmarsh, a bit of Mandu Island, and opposite the Murray Mouth into the Coorong a bit as well, further down to, so that's also my clan group too, of the Ngarrindjeri nation too. As they was all talking a little bit funny, they was all speaking the same language, but they were all talking a little bit differently to each other. And as they were talking a little bit different, they had realized it was Wururi, who had turned into now the huntsman spider. And as she had hid into the ground, she still scares people. Put your hand up if you're scared of spiders. Yeah, I am. yeah. So she's still scaring people today. Yeah. It's just that she's not an old woman anymore. She's Spider Woman now. Yeah. So we don't have the Spider Man, we got the Spider Woman. And that's the dreaming of Kumerangk there now, of Hindmarsh Island there now. And that's how our language come to be. That's how like Ngarrindjeri is all one language, but there's different dialects between the different 18 nations. So for instance of that, if I say, Ruti, this deadly big painting, Ruti meaning like deadly or cute or cool or something like that. But if I say, I like, and if somebody's coming towards me and they say, hey, Brad, look at that buoy big artwork you done, you know, it's meaning the same word. It's just that one is Ramindjeri and the other one is Yaraldi. And it's the same meaning to the words. It's just that from the different areas, you have a slight difference in pronunciation of them, you know. And as Ruwi come up, and that's the Nazi of now Hindmarsh Island. So even though my father's family come from Hindmarsh Island, their Nazi is not the Ruwi, not the Spada, as it's not the Spada, but they come from Hindmarsh Island. So some places you can come from, but it not necessarily be your totem. And so Hindmarsh Island is a really important place, not only for us as Ngarrindjeri and us families that belong to this place, but also for our Miminers as well. You know, it's a place of significance for them too. And Mandu Island, Ngarrindjeri Ruwi, actually my mum's great-grandfather was actually called Peter Mandu. And when the first non-Indigenous people come here, he had come over from Mandu Island over to Goa, and it was his father-in-law who was sort of the leader of he was the Ngarrindjeri leader of the nation. He's the one that actually brought everybody to Rauken. And his name here in Goa was Peter Mandu Campbell. But then when he got to Rauken, they had then taken the Mandu and they named him Peter Campbell. And he was, him and his father were the last Ngarrindjeri family of Mandu Island. So that's actually my country, my mother's country, but my country too, my family's homeland, that is. But we haven't been able to be back there to look after it, maintain it, care for it, connect with it for over 150 years, since our old descendant had gotten back there, you know, or was able to journey over there by canoe then, you know. So whenever I paint our stories representing the Kondoli-Mulyawongk-Nepeli of our Ngarrindjeri Ruwi, Yarluwar Ruwi, I always put where my homelands is. And my old dad, even though their family was taken from Goa and taken to the York Peninsula, they were a Ramindjeri clan group. They were the Ramindjeri family who then married into a Naranga. Well, he had multiple wives. He had 3 wives, but he only had family for one of the wives. And they had then married into Naranga, and that's where my father had spent most of his life, there, on the York Peninsula. And at Goa, they had lived around here. Actually, down up where the wharf and that is, that was where their camping grounds were. And his descendant was called Yami Rankin, and they had gotten the name from a Dr. Rankin who had come from Kangaroo Island, and that's who they had worked for. And he had twin sister wives. And when they were taken from Goa, they were taken from their country, they were taken to Rauken. They really didn't live a little bit past probably 6 months of being there, 8 months of being there. They all passed within each other because they were missing each other, but also missing their lands as well, the place that they've always known and were born at and had strong connection to, you know.